Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami. Sanje Junan Soje Jonam La Sanje Bada Dane Jasanje Tage Jin Soje Besanam Ji Dola Benja Sanje Duporejo Sanje Chudan Soje Jonam La Sanje Bada Dane Jasanje Age Soje Basanam Ji Dola Mencha Sanje Duporejo Sanje Chudan Soje Chonam La Sanje Bada Dane Jasanje Age Soje Besanam Ji Dola Bencha Sanje Duporejo. I go refuge to Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, for the enlightenment for all sentient beings. I go refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha for the enlightenment for all sentient beings. I go refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha for the benefit of all sentient beings. And good morning, everyone. So we're starting a Sunday morning meditation after we've been in Lamrim retreat for a while. So it is nice to be back, Sunday morning meditation. I'm very happy to be with you, be able to meditate with you. Welcome, everybody. It is very nice to be here in our temple, and beautiful sun shining. We got lots of snow outside. It looks very, very picturesque, very beautiful. So today, first I will lead meditation on mindfulness, satipatthana, and then the subject of the talk for today is mindfulness of mind, and continue to mindfulness of object of mind, and also meditation on Four Noble Truths. Four Noble Truths. So now, at the moment, we will meditate now. I would like to ask you to sit on meditation cushion comfortably. Make yourself comfortable and keep your spine straight. And this is very important. And relax your body. And then keep your hands together with the mudra of meditative echo pose, like this one, on your lap. And then pay attention on the breath. And so we are going to practice what we call anapanasati in Pali language. It's called anapanasati. And Tibetan word is up junguk gomba. Up junguk gomba. Up is breath, jungwa, and ngupa. And up is like breathe in, jungwa is come out, breathe in and out. Focus the mind on the breath. We use the breath as an object of developing calm, abiding mind, and we use the breath as an object of developing concentration and awareness and mindfulness. And so using the breath as an object of meditation is a wonderful way to do it, because breath is part of our body, part of our life. We breathe in and out all the time. Since we're born until the last moment of our life, we're breathing. So this is just part of life. We're not trying to do something unusual thing here. And but not only that, focus your mind on the breath. Developing mindfulness is wonderful. It has so many benefits. It's although it seems like looks like simple, very simple meditation, but it's not so simple. In terms of benefit of this meditation is that it helps when you focus your mind on the breath. It helps you have it helps you to become closer to your body and closer to your heart, and be with your body, be in the present moment. And this, because using the breath as an object, it's breathing meditation is tool, and also it relaxes your body, and it minimize stress reduction. And we have, as a human beings, today's world, we have, doesn't matter where you live, wherever you live, any part of the world, we have stress, lots of worries, especially time of pandemic, with lots of stress. So breathing meditation is very helpful, stress reduction and bringing a calm, abiding mind. Also, bringing fresh prana inside of your body, and then purify stagnated prana goes out to the nostrils, and refreshing your entire body from top of your head to the bottom of your feet, and and it is very beneficial one. So let's sit now. We meditate. So you sit quietly, close your mouth, and slightly close your eyes, and then breathe in long and breathe out long. Breathe in smoothly, breathe out smoothly, and always concentrate your mind on the breath. As you breathe in, and feel your abdomen is rising. As you breathe in, abdomen rising. As you breathe out, abdomen is falling. And to know that, also sometimes it can be helpful. You place your hand on your stomach like this, and then you can feel your abdomen is rising as you breathe in, and your abdomen is falling as you breathe out, right? And always focus mind on the breath. And those of you or anyone who haven't done mindfulness breathing meditation like this find it a little difficult because you kind of not sure what is happening or what am I doing here, just looking at the breath. What does this mean? What does that mean? It's just, that's okay. That's how we, our mind doing. Our mind is always very active, always clinging into something, right? Has to do something. This time you feel like suddenly everything sort of dropped and being quiet. Why? Well, this is a good question. We need to drop things. We don't have to be busy all the time, and there are times you need to rest, relax your mind, give a some peace and refreshing the mind. And this is why we're doing this. So, okay, please meditate now. We practice mindfulness of breathing. Subject of the teaching for today is 5 skandhas and 4 noble truths. So 5 skandhas are called Pungpo Nga in Tibetan, Pungpo Nga, a skandha in Sanskrit word. English translation is the 5 composition of phenomena. Compositional phenomena, or 5 hips. So as a human being, our human body and human mind is a combination of the 5 compositional phenomena, 5 hips. They are form, feelings, perception, subtle perception, or it is also known as a mental formation, and consciousness. So the first one is form, the body, material body. Then the feeling, perception, mental formation, consciousness are the mind. So then I will go from here to 4 noble truths, and 4 noble truths is called Demba Ji in Tibetan, Pakpa Demba Ji, Pakpa Demba Ji, 4 noble truths. Tibetan word Pakpa means Pakpa is Arya, like the enlightened people, enlightened beings, the Bodhisattva, Arya Bodhisattvas, or you could be Arya Sharvakas or Arya Parchekas, Aryas. And Aryas are the advanced practitioner who is on the path. So the reason why it's called Pakpa Demba means these 4 noble truths are seen by the Aryas. The Aryas, the Pakpas, they're the one who witness, who see the true nature of 4 noble truths, the true nature of the suffering, true nature of cause of suffering, true nature of cessation of suffering, true nature of the path to cessation of suffering, the real nature, right? As ordinary people, we don't always see or experience the true nature. We only experience some superficial, some simple kind of something on surface, something that you experience, but not knowing deep level. So, as I mentioned this before, for instance, if you take one single hair and put it on your palm of your hand, you don't feel it, right? And if you put that same hair inside your eyes, you can feel it hurts. So this is an example between the ordinary person and the Aryas. For example, ordinary person does not feel the suffering on a subtle level, subtle suffering. Of course, gross suffering you can see, you can feel, but subtle ones don't know. And the Aryas, so the ordinary people doesn't know the subtle suffering. That's the example is you put the hair in your palm of your hand. And the Aryas can experience or can see the subtle suffering, just like putting the hair, that same single hair put inside your eyes. They can feel, they're very sensitive, they know everything. And so this is the difference. These are the examples. So now I go into the Four Noble Truths. The Four Noble Truths are the very first teaching was taught by the Buddha himself after his enlightenment. Buddha got enlightened in Bodh Gaya. This is the name of the place, present day, Bodh Gaya. And Tibetan word is Dorje Den. Dorje Den means a Vajra throne or Vajra seat. This is where Buddha sat and Buddha got obtained enlightenment. And Dorje Den, holy place, right? So he got enlightened when he was age of 35. And he got enlightened there. Then after 46 days, he arrived in Varanasi and Rishipatna, which is also part of Varanasi, and Sarnath nowadays. And Buddha arrived there, and then he met his former friends, 5 yogis, and Korngate Sangpo in Tibetan, Sangye Jomdende, Varanasi Pero. Then he arrived in Varanasi and they met Korngate Sangpo, previous friends, for Korngate Sangpo. Yeah, so it's five disciples, 5 friends he met there. Then they requested him to give teachings, first teaching after enlightenment. And so then Buddha taught Four Noble Truths. So, and I will now read the Satipatthana Sutra here. The Four Noble Truths. Again, monk. A monk abides contemplating mind objects as mind object in respect of the Four Noble Truths. So this is after I was talking about for mindfulness. First mindfulness is mindfulness of body. Second mindfulness is mindfulness of feelings. Third mindfulness is mindfulness of form, mindfulness, body, mindfulness of feelings, mindfulness. Third mindfulness is mindfulness of mind. And now the fourth mindfulness is the mindfulness of object of mind, object of our mind. So there are so many objects. So the whole phenomena is object of mind, can be object of mind, right? So we, according to Satipatthana Sutra, describing different things here. Sense, internal and external senses, and so on, and also 7 factors of enlightenment and so forth. So one of the object of mindfulness of mind is Four Noble Truths. So here, I will go back to the text sutra here. How does he do so? Here a monk knows as it really is. Okay, this is suffering. He knows as it really is. Okay, so Tibetan word in the sutra says, "Dene donga pakwe denpa wo." This is the origin of suffering. He knows as it really is. Dene kunjung pakwe denpa wo. This is the cessation of suffering. He knows as it really is. Dene gokwe denpa wo. Okay. Then this is the way of practice leading to the cessation of suffering. In other words, path to cessation of suffering. Tibetan word, dine lam pakpe denpa wo. Lam pakpe denpa wo, Tibetan word. So The Buddha said, this is noble truth of suffering, this is noble truth of cause of suffering, this is noble truth of cessation of suffering, this is noble truth of path to cessation of suffering. So the very first noble truth is suffering. So I have been asked by people, the very first, when I came to the West, I actually came to Australia. I was in Australia. People ask why the Buddha talked suffering instead of happiness. Why did he talk about suffering? Why not just talk about happiness? Why don't you make people happy? And instead of talking suffering. So I said, well, this is the good question. And why did the Buddha talk about suffering? The answer is because if you don't talk about suffering, then you don't know what suffering is. You also, if you don't know what suffering is, you don't know where is the cause of suffering? Where did the cause of suffering come from, right? And then how can you have a happiness if you don't know the suffering? You don't know where the cause of suffering. How can you suddenly become happy? We're not live in some kind of paradise. We don't live in pure lands and Sukhavati, some kind of enlightened abode. We live on earth, walking on earth, right? And so this is why the Buddha taught suffering. And I said the Buddhism is not pessimistic, or Buddhism is not optimistic. Buddhism is realistic. Realistic. We have to be realistic. And this is the reason why Buddha taught suffering. And for example, before February 2020, the world, most people, world doesn't know about COVID-19. We have no idea before January 2020. So don't know the suffering. Then suddenly COVID arrived, the whole world is changed suddenly, and the suffering is arrived. And people suffered so much for the last 12 months. Suffering, still suffering. People still sick and dying. So this is the suffering. Now we're suffering, right? And now we know the suffering, right? We know the suffering. We know the death, destruction. And we don't know the cause. And of course, many people know, but I don't know myself. And I don't have enough knowledge of the cause of COVID. And there are lots of words, rumors of this and that. Well, not rumors, but there are lots of stories. But anyway, in any case, so the suffering is here. Now we're scientists, many people looking for the cause of suffering. And then now we're looking, what we're doing is trying to find cessation of suffering and path to cessation of suffering. So the path for cessation of suffering of the COVID is to keep social distancing and wear a mask, wash your hands, take lots of vitamins and supplements and nutritious food or protein, boosting our own immune system. The most important thing is keep things social distancing and wait and practice patience and patience, looking forward to the end of this suffering. And there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It's coming, it's there, we can see now. And so I have to be patient, right? We are suffering. So this is why exactly the Buddha taught Four Noble Truths, and the Buddha taught suffering first. The suffering is called dukkha in Sanskrit. Tibetan word is dunghal, dunghal. And so we can't pretend, right? Some people say, why don't just think about positive, always talk about love, love, love. And, well, it is a very good idea. Nice to talk about love. I like talking about love, and I love everybody, and everybody loves. If everybody love each other, that would be wonderful. That's what we need. Love is the source of peace and happiness, metta and karuna, loving kindness, right? So, but you have to be realistic. So here, this is why the Buddha taught Four Noble Truths. And so then the first noble truth is suffering. So here, then the sutra goes on talking about suffering. So I will read here. And what monk is the monk is the noble truth of suffering. Birth is suffering, aging is suffering, death is suffering, sorrow, lamentation, pain, sadness, and distress, suffering, being attached to the suffering, being attached to the unloved is suffering. And for example, you love somebody, but he doesn't love you, or she doesn't love you. You love this person, or doesn't show any kind of feedback, and then you feel abandoned, or you feel ignored. So another kind of suffering. Being attached to the unloved is suffering. Being separated from the loved is suffering. So we are separated now. Since the pandemic, many people, our families, friends, we're kind of separated. We can't go and visit. You can't sit down, have a cup of tea together, and you can't travel. We haven't seen each other, our loved ones, for months and months. And many of us, can't even go spend time with loved ones on Christmas in the West, Christmas, right? And then in February, there's a Lunar New Year, Tibetan New Year. People can't go visit, spend time with the Tibetan New Year or Chinese New Year or Mongolian New Year. So we're suffering. Being separate from the loved is suffering. And not getting what one wants is suffering. This is what the Buddha said. And not getting what one wants is suffering. So we're not getting a lot of things, what we want. Not just because of the COVID, but this is just part of life. Always has been this way. Since we're born until we die, part of life. And COVID is not the only one causing all the suffering suddenly starting in 2020. In short, the 5 aggregates of grasping are suffering. So in short, grasping, the mind is grasping to this body is suffering. The mind is grasping to these feelings is suffering. Oh, I want to feel happy, feel good, feel this, feel that. I don't want to feel sad, feel suffering, feel pain. That itself is another suffering. Likewise, perception, mental formation, consciousness. In short, all this is suffering. And so we meditate on suffering. And so why do we meditate on suffering? Because meditating on suffering is not only to find the cause of suffering or to free oneself from suffering on a temporary level, but meditating on suffering is cause of what we call renunciation. Tibetan word is nginjung, nipar nyungwa, cause of renunciation, cause of awakening the mind and towards to spirituality, and cause of awakening and learning, deep interest in Dharma. Because when you see the suffering. Life is suffering. Samsara is suffering. Tibetan word samsara is called korwa. Korwa. Korwa dunghagi jatsola. In Tibetan word, we say korwa dunghagi jatso, which means samsara is like the ocean of suffering. What that means, the ocean is very big. The most part of this world where we are in, is ocean. And the majority of the earth is water, ocean. And so ocean is very big, right? This is example. Kovadama means samsara is big, it's very deep and treacherous. Donghagi Jatsu. And we are in samsara, and we will be in samsara for a while, for sometimes, or maybe a long time, unless we have realization of Dharma, unless we practice Dharma, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, unless we have realization of shunyata and bodhicitta, and otherwise one cannot get out from samsara, right? So this is why necessary to meditate on samsara. And then once you realize that samsara is suffering, life is suffering, then it motivates oneself to study, to practice Dharma. And then one could become true dharmic person. One could become a real spiritual person, right? And what is the value? What is the benefit of being a spiritual person? Why? Why one should become a spiritual person? Or why can't just be ordinary people? Why can't you be just happy and so on and so on? Yeah, these are the good questions, right? But being a spiritual person is wonderful because you could be free yourself from suffering, from daily suffering, different kinds of sufferings, and you understand the suffering of not only yourself, understand suffering of other people, others, suffering of all sentient beings. You can service, you can help others to release from suffering and pain. This is the benefit of being a spiritual person. And you can practice true love and compassion, genuine love and compassion, and altruistic mind, and towards to enlightenment for all sentient beings. This is the value, benefit of being a spiritual person. Doesn't mean religious person, but spiritual person. So in order to become a spiritual person, one must have realization of renunciation, renounce samsara, suffering. And in order to obtain realization of renunciation, one has to understand what we are renouncing, or what we should renounce, and what should we renounce? What are we renouncing? Renounce samsara, and renounce suffering. We can reach the state when there's no more suffering, which is normally called nibbana or nirvana. Nyangilendeba, Tibetan word nyangilendeba. Nyange is some suffering. Nyange is the old Tibetan term, suffering. And deva means gone beyond suffering. So now here, according to Sutra, talks about different kinds of sufferings. And what monks is birth in whatever being of whatever group of beings, there is birth, coming to be, coming forth. The appearance of the aggregate, the acquisition of the sense basis, that monks is called birth. So we're born in this world. We have father and mother. We have human bodies, and we have got 5 skandhas. As soon as you're conceived as a human being inside the mother's womb, then you are conceiving, you obtaining 5 skandhas, and then comes out, and which is called birth, right? We're born. So this is the beginning of life. And then after the birth, then aging starts. So from the Buddhist text, actually, first moment of the conception is called birth. Second moment of the conception is age. Age started already before you are physically born. Interesting thing is, and normally we say birth is like after 9 months, and then you come out and you're born, right? And we celebrate birthday. Birthday, well, we could have birthday party, right? And based on the day of your birth. But according to Buddhist text, the birth is the first moment of conception. Second moment of the conception is old age. You're already old when you're born, 9 months old. And already, according to Tibetan custom, when you're born, you're already 1 year old. And even though not only 9 months, or maybe who knows, and it's possible one could be inside the mother's womb, not even knowing when you're conceived. And like Mahasiddha Tuktuk Tangtung Gyalpo, and famous Tibetan yogi, his name is Tangtung Gyalpo, and he lived in his mother's womb for 3 years. And so the mother was wondering what's going on with this baby here. And she had a dream. He said, I'm meditating, and your body is my cave, my temple. You are very holy. I am I'm meditating, and let me meditate. So she said, well, why not? You can stay with me, and I'm happy for you. I'm happy. I know it's no burden for me, and I'm blessed having baby, walking around with a baby for 3 years. And interesting story, right? Unusual, unusual. Have you heard any human beings or baby inside the mother's womb for 3 years? And that's a long time, right? And but this sort of thing happens, and on a spiritual level, and we got interesting beliefs or stories, right? And anyway, I like that idea, and that he did stay there. And I think the mother was very blessed. Tangtung Gyalpo, he was a red colored, got ponytail and beard. He was actually considered emanation of Amitabha's Buddha. He did a lot of miracles in Tibet. He built 7 iron bridges in Tibet, and by himself. He traveled to India or somewhere, bought all this iron stuff. He built 7 bridges. Even, I won't talk about now, too much stories. And there are more stories about Tangtung Gyalpo. And anyway, and he's very famous. And so he lived like that in his mother's womb. And so anyway, the birth and aging. So there's a suffering of birth, suffering, aging. So according to Buddhist text, the birth is suffering because the mother have a pain, the baby has pain when it come out from the mother's birth canal, and it's not an easy one. A lot of pain, and also sometimes you go to baby can't come out, so you go do the cesarean surgery and all this and that, complicated. Sometimes the babies go through suffering. So this is what we're talking about, and not pleasant one. And although it is good one, and good for everybody, and good for the baby too, good for the mother, and going through rough time, and having pain, it's stimulation for the brain, and it's a good one. That's what they say. And natural birth is good, stimulating for the brain. Anyway, so aging. Aging is obvious. We all know aging is suffering because nobody wants to get old. And when you go through aging, you notice you're getting old, aging, your body is getting old. And you go through pains and aches, and suddenly you notice things are that it's not very pleasant. And so here, what is aging? The sutra states, or whatever being of whatever group of beings, so individual being or group of people, there is aging. Decrepitude, broken teeth, gray hair, wrinkled skin, shrinking with age, decay of the sense faculties. That monk is called aging. So these are the kind of some things, like sign of aging. You're changing the complexion of your skin, colors, hair, color of hair, and teeth decaying, and your teeth falling apart, breaking. You have to go to the dentist so many times, spend so much money, and pain, sometimes painful, get all this dental work, and things like that. You get wrinkles on your face, and shrinking with age. So wrinkles on your face. I like to tell you one story. About 7 or 8 years ago, I had a cataract surgery. And then after the surgery, and my eye doctor asked me to come back for a checkup. So I went and was sitting there waiting. And then one lady sitting next to me, she said she had the cataract surgery. And then the next morning, or a few days, next morning, I guess, she said she looked at mirror, and she said, she was shocked herself, and she almost screamed. I said, what? She said, because I see all the wrinkles on my face. Before, when I had a cataract, I couldn't see it. Now I see it. And then she said to me, I felt that I want my cataract back. I don't like those wrinkles. That's what she said. And okay, so that's the the nature of the mind, and this is what the sutra is saying: shrinking the skin and wrinkled skin, right? That's part of life. Decaying sense faculties. So different faculties, decaying eye faculty, ear. People can't hear well, become deaf, and some people don't want to wear hearing aids, and it doesn't look very good. You look like a deaf, and then people have to shout all the time, and it's kind of hard. Other people have to shout, and he doesn't want to wear hearing aids, and then when you shout at him, he gets angry or embarrassed, and so there's no way. There's no way to win it. Better wear hearing aids. A friend of mine, he said, when I wear hearing aids, I hear things that I don't want to hear. I hear too many things, and I hate hearing aids. Okay, I understand that. I'm so far I don't have to wear hearing aids. My hearing is very good. I can hear sounds far away from the mountains. And anyway, so that's a difficult one. Again, gray hair. Well, I don't think it's a big problem having gray hair, a gray goatee, a gray mustache. Some people don't like gray hairs, especially a lot of Asian people, Asian men particularly don't like gray hair. And you see, we have a joke. As you get older and older, your hair is getting darker and darker. Your hair is getting more black. Ooh, look good, sir. And why suddenly your hair getting darker and darker, right? And but for as a lama or for as a monk, and having gray hair is sign of senior lama. It's actually not bad. Or if lama or monk is bald, no hair, and also a sign of senior lama or monk. And we have saying in Tibet, bald head and the beard and the goatee is a beauty of monk. Beauty of monk. If monk got bald head and the goatee and beard, sign that you're reverent and kind of nice way of thinking, right? So it doesn't just not just monks. If you're a senior man, you got bald head and beard and goatee, white goatee, white mustache. If you want, if you have, it's a sign of nobility, sign of noble, which is good. And when there's a story, one man, he was a bald, and he every time when he visualized Vajrasattva above his head, he said the Vajrasattva keeps sliding down and from his head, landed on his lap. So he told his guru, and I am having some problem with my visualization because Vajrasattva won't sit on my head. He keeps sliding down on my lap because I'm bald. And the guru said, "What is your complaining? You are fortunate. Vajrasattva landed on your lap. You should be happy. Stop complaining." So there's all kinds of way of thinking. One should change the attitude in a positive way instead of negative way. One should not complain. So then his sutra states, what is death? In whatever beings or of whatever group of beings, there is passing away, a remover, a cutting off, a disappearance, a death or dying, an ending, cutting off the aggregate, discarding of the body. That, monks, is called death. Okay, so this time I like to talk a little bit about death and dying. So death is definite since we were born. Nobody survived. Nobody lived forever and ever. Who wants to live forever anyway? If you live too long, then all your relatives and family are gone. You end up hanging around like a ghost. And you know, if you live too long as a man or woman, your children, son and daughter dies. It is very painful, right? Then if you live too long, your grandchildren will go. Again, what am I doing here now? I'm sitting around a ghost, right? And or if you're a lama, if you live too long and your disciples start disappearing, and all the disciples gone, right? Dharma old folks are gone. And then you're thinking, why am I sitting here? And I'm not a mummified lama, but almost like a mummified lama. So, still breathing and living so long. Why? Why not go to Pure Land? You're a holy lama and you have a good time up there. And then you turn around and you go up to Pure Land and then become a Sambhogakaya, Bodhis Buddha, like Amitabha Buddha, and then turn around, come back, reincarnate as a beautiful young Tulku, reincarnated Tulku, soon. And instead of being old lama and can't even walk, can't even sit up straight, meditate, and you know, and then all these students are running around and trying to serve you, and they are sad because your lama is so old now, and almost like mummified lama, living mummified lama. And I don't think it's a good idea to live too long. And that's why we have a lama called Longdor Lama Rinpoche in Sera Monastery. He was very famous lama, Longdor Lama Rinpoche, Longdor. And he sit under the tree and for a long time. He used to sit and he used to sit outside in Sarah Monastery, wintertime when it's really cold, like minus 10, 15, and whatever. He always sit outside and meditate. He wants sort of, he shows his endurance, his dedication. He's trying to show good example for other monks. Look, I'm old Lama, but I can sit and meditate like this. Why are you guys complaining? Sit outside, meditate. What he was doing is to showing endurance, patience, and perseverance. Good example for the students, not like trying to showing off. And then summertime, when it's very hot, like in Tibet, summer can be very hot because you're close to the sun, right? For example, Lhasa, capital city of Tibet, is 11,000 feet from the sea level. Where I was born, my hometown is 13,000 feet from the sea level. So summertime can be very hot. In the Sarah Monastery is surround Sarah Monastery is many rocks. Okay, actually the Sarah might be the word. Sarah is Tibetan word means hailstone. Those hailstone. What do you call the balls? And there's many of them. And so Sarah means looks like so many hailstone, like so many rocks everywhere. In the middle of Sarah Monastery, there's just lots of sand. There's a small kind of sand dunes where monks sit and meditate and debate. So it can be very hot. The Longdo Lama Rinpoche used to sit there in the summer in the sand and meditate. Again, showing his endurance, dedication, and good example for other young monks. Sit. Doesn't matter how hot it is. You have to be tough, strong meditator. Okay. So he did that. And then one day he got older and older. He said, listen, you guys, I'm leaving now. I'm going to Pure Land. Instead of being an old monk, I'm going to come back soon as a young boy and young boy monk. And then I will practice again and show a good example for you guys. So everybody was kind of mixed feeling, this old holy guru is going. At the same time, sad and then happy that he will come back as a young boy monk. And so you get the mixed feeling. So death is definite. A time of death is indefinite because you don't know when death will come to us. You go to work, and some people never come back. And on the way, they die from car accident, this and that. Or some people go to bed, they don't wake up, right? Now this pandemic and COVID and killed so many people. Some people die very fast. So never know, right? Generally speaking, death is indefinite. It comes very fast. And time of death is indefinite. Time of death is indefinite. So now, what is death? From the according text, death is when the moment or when your consciousness leaves this body, and that is death. And it takes time to go through death process. And there are actually 25 death processes. So you go through first dissolving the elements of the body, earth element, water element, fire element, wind element, 4 elements. And then all the different senses dissolving, sense fields are dissolving, sense consciousness are slowly dissolving. And then your main consciousness is dissolving. You go through what we call the white vision, red vision, dark vision. Then you go through clear light, and then you go through not clear light, white vision, red vision, then dark vision, and after that clear light, and which is called mother clear light. And at the end of the death process, right, clear light, and then after that, consciousness, whenever one is ready to go depends on the also largely depends on karma, and also depends on conditions. Then your life-sustaining prana is no longer to keep the consciousness with the body. That when the life-sustaining prana exhausted, and when karma of this life is exhausted, and then gone. So next step is bardo. Consciousness leaves this body. Next step is bardo. For as an ordinary person, or enlightened one goes into clear light and bliss, or next place is Buddha land or pure land, right? So the moment your body leaves this body, the moment your consciousness leaves this body, that is death. So this can happen within 3 days, according to Tibetan teaching, Dharma teaching. Even though body is lying down, stop breathing, according medical term, and doctors might say you're now gone, you're no longer breathing, but that doesn't mean your consciousness is left. You might be in a state of what we call in Tibet, tugdam lashu. And I just saw about 2 days ago the Tibetan news from New York, television news announced Wanageshi at Drebung, going around the monasteries. And Gandhin Changze in South India, one Mother Geshe, he passed away. He went into Tugdam for 10 days and said he was a disciple of Jebje Trijang Rinpoche, Jebje Trijang Dorje Chang, who was my root guru. And he was, this Geshe was in a state of, we call Tugdam, a state of clear light and meditation, even though he stopped breathing, but he was sitting there. And that was a wonderful experience for his disciple and for other people, going into a clear light state. And I also heard one wonderful teacher called Kirti Sanjab Rinpoche. He passed away some years ago. When he was passing away, he was smiling, he was looking at the sky, and his disciple said, "Alak, what are you seeing?" Alak means Amdo dialect, means High Lama. He said, "I can see Kala Chakra Mandala above me," and he was smiling. And then he closed his eyes. Gone. Okay, I will stop here now and then continue. So next Sunday, I will be back here after Christmas. Friday's Christmas Friday, Sunday I'll be back here. So see you soon. Thank you very much. If you have any questions about Satipatthana or Four Noble Truth, you're most welcome.
Thank you for the great teachings, Rinpoche. Amanda Buckley asks, thanks for the helpful words about acceptance of aging. Good part is more time for meditation and Dharma. Hard part is that technology goes so fast. It's hard to keep up. Should we try to keep up?
Keep up, what does that mean? Keep up. Keep the body alive?
Keep the body alive with technology.
Into machines?
Yeah. How much Western intervention do we use to keep our body going before we go into death?
Well, I can't really speak about that, exactly what to do, because I don't know that. It depends on the condition of the dying person at that moment, his or her mind. And also, it depends on his or her wish. It's your wish, what you want, right? I can't speak about that. And because I don't know that person, and I can't give a prediction, and I don't know enough. I don't have enough knowledge about Western medicine or technology, and I'm only a Tibetan Lama and talking about talking according traditional teachings, authentic teachings, and so it is hard to say do this or don't do this. And I think I would say I will. We have to respect the person, his or her wish. So it's up to him. Ask what you want, and then what is allowed according to the system in the hospitals, right? And so that's my answer.
Mm-hmm. I guess it comes down to personal philosophy and preference. What
Right.
what you yourself
Yeah.
want. Yeah. Thank you for that. Okay. Any other questions, please?
I think some people have a hard time writing the questions, right? Typing.
There's a little bit of a lag between asking and
Yeah.
receiving it. Yeah.
Yeah, you can. People can write short questions, quick questions if you like. Don't hesitate. Don't worry about spelling mistakes. I make lots of mistakes, spelling mistakes.
Colin Maddox was wondering if you'd seen any of the Tang Tong Yapos iron bridges.
Iron bridges. Iron bridges.
Iron bridges.
No, I haven't seen it physically because I was very young when I was leaving from my homeland to Lhasa, about 9. Then when we left Tibet, I was 11. Because the area where we traveled, there was no big rivers. So I seen pictures of Tangtong Gyalpo's bridge. And actually, the funny thing is, the Communist Party in China that time said that Lama is the only one did something useful for the society, common people, according to communist view, right? You have to build bridges, roads, this and that. So they praised him.
Yeah, good. Why not, right?
Why not?
Yeah. Andrea Farmer asks, Dear Rinpoche, can you explain the 5 aggregates of suffering?
5 aggregates of suffering.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 5 aggregates themselves, generally, we don't call them a suffering. They're not suffering. We can't call them suffering. But as an individual person, your 5 skandha, one of the 5 skandha, could be suffering. For example, the body, first one, right? Form. So we're talking about old age, sickness, shrinking your bones, or shrinking your skin, and hinged back, and so on and so forth. That's suffering of the form skandha. And feeling skandha, suffering feeling skandha, or feeling get confuse your feelings, right? Because as you get old, your feelings kind of mixed up, right? And likewise, perception and mental formation, the third one, and the fourth one can suffer more because dementia coming, and then your perceptions are not very good, and confusion of the mind, and thus perception, mental formation, consciousness suffer due to old age. Sometimes, not everybody, some people, and decaying their mind and suffering, losing the mind. So it can be difficult. These are the suffering of perception, mental formation, and consciousness.
Wonderful, thank you.
Okay. All right.
Good.
Good. Thank you very much. Thank you. And see you next Sunday. And Merry Christmas. And very, very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. All the best. And take care, everybody. Thank
Amen.
you.